Welcome to Kmfbz Radio. I would like to proudly welcome Tony, the Demolition Man, Dolan. Welcome
Hey,
on,
hey
brother.
everybody. Thank you for having me. Hey to Canada. Hey to you. Hey to everybody. Welcome and have a good weekend. I hope you're having a good weekend.
Rock and roll, man.
Yeah,
Rock
baby.
and roll,
Yeah,
buddy.
baby.
So let's talk a little bit about something. You formed a great band, Adam Kraft, in 1979.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it kicks so much ass. Like, what kind of music did you grow up on, like that inspired that band?
You know, I think for me, because I was born in England, and then my mother had one brother who moved to Canada in the late 60s, and he became a cop in Windsor, Ontario. And my mother and father split when I was 9 years old. My mum got with another guy, and they decided, it was pretty grim in England. It's always pretty grim, but it was even worse in the 70s, early 70s, So they decided to fuck off and move to Canada, and her brother was the sponsor. So at a very early age, I was about 10, we moved to Canada. I moved to Windsor, Ontario. And, so kind of through my early formative years, my music introduction, past the glam rock and all that, my mum and dad were into rock and roll. So it was all Eddie Cochran and Bill Haley in the comments and Elvis. That's all I was hearing. I found myself during one summer in Canada discovering Kiss, Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Foreigner. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. So it kind of became my mainstay, all of that kind of rock, Boston, everything. And then we moved back to the UK, and it was late 70s, 78, I think, 77, 78. And when I walked into the UK, I had this I looked like I just got off a boat from Newfoundland. I had this patchwork jacket on. My hair was really long. I had a handlebar mustache. I had a Kiss patch, a Kiss Army patch. I had Ted Nugent, Aerosmith, and I had flares and these platform dress shoes. And I walked into the school that I was going to go to on my first day, and they were having a disco kind of thing. And there was all this fucking music, which I didn't understand. And there was these people just jumping up and down. And it was like punk rock. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with everybody? And they were like, it's punk, don't you know punk? And I was like, I don't even know what that means. And they were like, well, where do you come from? California? Do you smoke joints and all that? I was like, why would I do that? And they were like, look at you, you're like this hippie. And I was like, wow. And nobody knew Kiss. They were going, what the fuck is Kiss? What is that? I was like, it's a band. And they were like, Ted Nugent, is that like an artist? And I was like, yeah, I mean, fuck. So they didn't know Detroit Rock City. They didn't know about that scene. I didn't understand what was happening with punk. And so it was kind of trying to meld into what the fuck's going on. But it took me, I think, about a year. We moved into a really bad neighborhood. Literally there was fucking cars, empty cars on fire, and, fighting all the time, and guns and stealing. And I was like, fuck. So my whole life went from, Green Gables and backyards and long hot summers playing baseball and fishing with my buddies in the quiet to, and raping 7-Elevens of popsicles and stuff, to this fucking mayhem that was this music I didn't understand, these people who were just going fucking nuts and tearing things apart. And I guess because I was just hitting 15, it spoke to me, and I was impressionable. And I just thought, wow, there's something about this that's filling me with excitement. And I wanted to play, I wanted to do it. Before that, you'd see, I went to see Kiss and Journey, and you watch those guys and it's like a classic fucking stadium rock. And you're never going to do that, because how could you do that? I don't even know how that works. But once I saw punk and I went to see, the Slade scene during the Blockheads, the Ruts, Angelic Upstarts, I just went to see everybody I could. I thought, fucking hell, this is aggressive. I'm aggressive. They're just shouting. I can shout. and they can't play so well. I can't play. So I thought, wow, I can actually do this, and I can do it in a club. I don't need a limousine or a private jet or loads of money. I can just do this. So that kind of what got me going. And so I got a few buddies. We were all into punk, and we all got together. But the drummer was into heavy metal, and he was listening to Thin Lizzy and AC/DC. And then I went to a gig to see a punk band who was supporting another band, and the other band was Motorhead.
And I was just going to say, you definitely have a huge Motorhead influence.
I swear to God, you know, so many bands. My favorite band up to there was probably the Dickies. I like Devo and all that, but Magazine and stuff. But the Dickies, because it was like fucking music on speed, you know. I was like, the first time I heard Paranoid, I swear to God, first time I heard Paranoid, I went to a party and someone put Paranoid on for Black Sabbath. And I went across and went, fucking hell, man, are you deaf? It's on the wrong speed. And I tried to speed it up to 78. And they were like, what are you doing? You don't play it that fast. I was like, yeah, you do. I said, this is far too fucking slow. And I said, where did you get this record? And they went, it's fucking Black Sabbath. I went, I don't know what that is, but anyway, it's on the wrong speed. They went, no, this is their song. It's on the right speed. And then it dawned on me that the Dickies had covered their song. Up to that point, I thought they'd written the song. So then I realized all of the stuff the Dickies had copied, they just fucking ramped up the speed. So Carlos Caballero, you know, who's the cousin of John Gallagher from Raven's ex-missus, was like fucking all over the place on the drums. And this was 1978, 79. So I was like, fucking hell, this is insane. So between the two of them, walking out from the first Motorhead show, like I was hit by a Mack truck. I didn't know what was going on. You know, it was like three guys and that bass. And I was like, fuck me, that's like, that can't even happen. This is like unbelievable. The noise, the power. So I came out and I thought, I want my punk band to be like that. So can we keep the kind of fast thing, but be like that, be like dirty and who gives a shit and really heavy. And that was it. That's what Born Atomcraft really. It was my homage to them, you know, and still Lemmy's influence. I was fortunate to meet him a couple of times and we were on tour in the USA when he died. And I read some things because I moved my mic stand up a couple of inches. Yeah. And I had this war pig I put on necklace that was bought for me. And I used to always have a shot of tequila before I went on. That was my shot, tequila, go to tequila. And then I said to the guy who was teching for us, I said, could you get me a Jack and Coke? And he was like, what? I said, a Jack and Coke. He was like, you don't drink Jack and Coke. I went, today I have to drink Jack and Coke. Lemmy passed. And I've done it every show ever since, every single show. The microphone stand I have slightly up to as a homage to him. I'm not trying to be him. Man. Fuck to be Lemmy. But, you know, he was so important to me, I feel, as a musician and why I began, that I don't want him to leave. So that's why I do it. It's not me trying to be him. It's me making sure he's always on stage when I'm on stage in spirit. And I hope I carry that forward. So
awesome.
That's my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hell yeah, brother. I love it, man. Love it. So in 1989, you were offered the role for Venom.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic metal bands of all time.
Yeah.
Like at that time, how did you become Venom's new guy?
Well, you know, we'd always had an association. You know, I mean, when I returned from Canada before I did my first Atomcraft album, I had a guitar, an Aria Urchin, and I wanted to do the band, take bass again, because I'd gone back to Canada and I came back again. And I went to Neat Records because it was close to where I lived. And the guy who answered the door was Conrad Kronos. And I said, he said, hey, how you doing? I was like, yeah, good. He said, what are you doing here? I said, I've come to trade a bass. I need a bass guitar. And he went, I've got one you could have. What's your guitar? So we traded. And so I took his bass, and the bass that he gave me was a right piece of shit, but it was the Black Flying V he used from the first Hammersmith Odeon video. But for me, I didn't give a shit. You know, it wasn't about value. It was about having the right instrument. And then, you know, the drummer came from that label, who was the brother of the manager of Venom. So we've always gone along the same route, and we all live in the same area, just a small kind of suburb town away from Newcastle. And so we'd had an association, and Abaddon was tour managing, and we did a tour behind the Iron Curtain with Nasty Savage from Florida and Exuma from Germany. And we did this European tour. We went behind the Iron Curtain. We were like top. It was really riding. Great tour, great response. And at the end of it, the singer that we had in Atomcraft decided he didn't want to do it anymore. He fell in love and he wanted to move away. So I was like, okay. So he went. We were playing a show in Scotland, and the young guitarist who'd been with us since '85 just got off stage halfway through the set, went to the bar, got himself a pint of beer, and just looked back and was like this. And I was like, the fuck's he doing? And he never came back. That was it. He was just gone. So it was like, oh shit. So the kind of band disbanded, and it was like we were just at the right peak. We had a new album ready to go, atomized. We were going to move label. We just done a really successful tour, and it stopped. And I thought I'm going to take some time out. I've been at this since '79. I'm a bit fucking tired, and maybe it's time to just not bother anymore. And I got a call about a week after the tour from Eric Cook, who was the manager of Venom, and Abaddon, who'd been tour managing. And they invited me to a pub to have a chat. So I went to a pub, we had a chat. They then said, Conrad's left. We did Calm Before the Storm. It wasn't so good for them. Conrad decided he wanted to take the two guitarists and go solo. So they went. And they said, we need a bass vocalist because we have a deal with Music for Nations for 3 albums. And, we have to replace Conrad. And I was going, oh, that's going to be difficult. I mean, a bass vocalist, and he's kind of iconic. I don't know. So I was like, yeah, I could see. I'll have a think. Let me have a think. And they were just laughing. And I was going, what's up? And they went, you, man, you do it. And I was going, what? And they went, well, you're one of the biggest fans. You know all the music. You can play it. You can sing it. And you know the songs. Why don't you just do it? So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? And as a note, obviously it plays into Conrad to go, well, it was this and it was that, or blah, 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 all the propaganda aside, people would say to me, how did it feel stepping into such huge shoes? And it's like, I never stand in anybody else's boots. I only wear my own. But I also didn't think about that, because it's like, they were my friends. Even Conrad, they were just my friends. So, if I'm not going to do anything and they want me to do something, why would I say no? And you get to play those songs, you get to play with your mates, you get to tour with your friends. So for me, it was easy. But when you look in, it kind of is different for other people. I understand that, and fans. But all I wanted to do was not copy him, and just get some spirit back to Venom, because even Abaddon said, we lost our way. But where we went wrong, as an observer, as a fan. So can you get us back to there? And so, yeah, we did Primeval, and that was it, It was all guns a-blazing.
For those who don't know, this particular history of Venom, the albums that you did were Primeval, Temples of Ice, Wastelands, and I believe you did an EP called Tear Your Soul Apart. What was it like making those albums? I love those albums.
Well, it was great fun. It was great fun, but you need your oven really hot, because they give you a ball of wax and then you've got to keep squashing them between plates.
Yes.
And I found that bit easy. And then sticking the sticker on the middle wasn't so hard. You've got to get it right. But then trying to draw the grooves in with a little pen, I found that really difficult. And I just did one. I'm only kidding, of course. Yeah, I didn't make them. I knew that's what you meant. Yeah, not like that. Anyway. There you go. But no, it was brilliant. We did Primeval, we did Temples of Ice, but in between we did a thing for Russia, an album called Kissing the Beast. And I've just put a box set together for the first time, in 30 years. And I pulled that out. And it only went out on CD. It was supposed to be only for Russia. The tapes went missing, apparently, mysteriously. And it turned up somewhere several years later on CD. But it was kind of legitimate. We did re-recordings of some classics and then 2 new songs. And then, we did yours, and a Live 90 video we did from that tour, which went down really well. But I mean, it was brilliant. Initially there was such a vibrancy there, because I just wanted to play. So for me, it was just about writing and playing. And this time I got to play with, not literally, obviously metaphorically, with Mantis and Abaddon, so we all kind of got on, and it was great fun. We had the same sense of humor, and we enjoyed being in the studio and certainly in rehearsals. So we knew what we wanted to do, and we just let it happen. And I think it was a real great time. I think then we did Temples of Ice. It was kind of changing. We didn't have control. Myself and Mantis didn't have control over the packaging and the, you know, all of the bits. After actually writing the songs and recording them, we had no part of anything. And that was a bit strange. We did some photos, but that was it. And I realized around that time, so it'd been year 4, year 3, I hadn't had any money at all. I hadn't been paid at all. So I was like, you know, and Abaddon and Eric, who was the manager, they had a great technique. You would go in and say, hey, did we get paid for that? Whatever. And by the end of it, you were apologizing that you'd asked for any money, because they would go, well, if we got paid, we would have given you the money. So what are you trying to say? You're trying to say we didn't get paid? We didn't give you the money? You think we had the money? We didn't give it. It was a technique they used. So every time we went out there, totally skint with nothing. So I was like, you know, I was on the dole. I was living in a real bad flat. I had nothing. So, you know, I would buy 10 cigarettes and fucking some rolling papers, and I would smoke them all week until I got a bit more money so I could buy another 10. You know, I was eating like turnip sandwiches and potato sandwiches. You know, I'd boil them up with butter and salt and pepper and make them in white bread sandwiches. That was my diet, you know. So, but I didn't care, you know, because I wasn't getting paid, and people think, yeah, but didn't you? No, because there was no way I was going to travel the world if I didn't do the band. Yeah. So I was getting to go everywhere, meet everybody. And while I was on tour, I could drink, I could eat. So for me, it was like, this is brilliant. This is shit I can't afford to do when I'm not doing this. But of course they used that, they played on that. So around about Temples, it was getting a bit noticeable that things weren't the way they should be business-wise. And then by the time it got to the Wastelands, I think Jeff had to go back to his day job. I was working too, and we were trying to struggle to get through the recording. I drafted in my original Kmfbz guitarist in just to help when Jeff was working, Steve White, who was never really in the band. He was just there to kind of keep pushing the recording along. And I think it just fizzled into nothing, because it was the 90s. You had grunge, you had Britpop, so yes, you know, metal was not in. And I just thought, you know, we could destroy this completely. They'd already lost their way, and I thought, you know, I don't want to step out while the engine's at least warm. I don't want to wait till it goes totally cold and the fucking gear stick and it's fucked and you got to drop a new engine in. I just want to go now. So I didn't go because Kronos was coming back. I didn't go because it wasn't working well. We didn't have any arguments. We didn't discuss big problems. We just did that. Jeff went back to his day job and I went to London to follow my career in engineering, which was very successful, and then acting. So it kind of just happened like that. But it was natural, and as it should be, you know, natural. It was a natural conclusion, I think.
So fast forward to today, like a few years ago, you formed Venom Incorporated with Mantis and Abaddon. How did you guys reunite and form such a kick-ass band? Like,
thank you, kick-ass. I like that. Thank you. Mantis was doing a solo project musically. I was working in London as an automation technician, an engineer, and he called me. He played a show. His drummer had been in Europe and had a bit of a problem and busted his ankle. They needed a drummer for this charity thing. And Anton called up, who's the brother of Kronos and had been in Venom for, you know, Metal Black and the Hell album and Resurrection, of course. Yeah. And he called up Jeff after hearing and said, look, you know, I'll step in if you want. So Jeff was like, oh, fucking brilliant. So he stepped in to cover this role. And at the end, they did black metal, and Mantis sung black metal. It was a bit of fun. It was like, why not? If he's there, why not? So they played it, put it on YouTube. And apparently they were getting a response going, oh, fucking hell, you know, now you're not in Venom, you're not in Venom, Dolan's not in Venom, you should get Dolan in, that would be really cool because you three haven't played together. So I get this phone call from Jeff. And I said, well, you know, because I've never said no to him when he asked me. I always go, okay, because I like working with him. I like, you know, we get on. It really works well. You know, we have a chemistry, much like him and Kronos have. We have, you know, different, but we have that chemistry. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? With Anton, brilliant, because I really have a soft spot for Anton because he is all about the music. You know, since he was a kid, he's just been into the music, and he's an amazing guitarist, but also a really capable drummer. So I was quite excited about the whole thing. For them, it was like, it's like poking a stick in Conrad's face and Kronos's nose. But for me, it's like, I can't be arsed with all that shit. You got a problem? Confront it out. If you can't do that, then just shut up and go and, you know, pick your daisies and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it's funny how, like, with the fans, like once Venom Incorporated came out, like everybody thought you guys were like riding on Venom's coattails, not knowing the real history that you had sang for 3 albums and an EP, and Kronos just left. Everybody has to like make some kind of a feud out of everything.
Exactly. You know, and the thing is when we did Empire of Evil, which was where it began, so I said to Jeff, okay, let's do this. But if we do this, you do not put your fucking guitars back under your bed this time. So if you get to year 3 and you've had enough, I don't care. You've got to keep going. This is we do this for the rest of our life because this is who we are. And he agreed. So that was it. I took the job. I had a very good job, another great job coming. I got rid of them and just went straight in. I had 10 grand in the bank. I sunk it all into Empire of Evil, and we went everywhere, from several tours in America, South America, Japan, you fucking name it. We went everywhere. It took us everywhere. And we did our albums, and they were self-done, you know, self-deals. We used Scarlet Records but we had them on Mausoleum. We had them on Cleopatra for the US. You know, it just didn't stop. It just went, let's just DIY this whole thing, cut the bullshit. We don't have any middlemen. We just got straight fans, us, music. That's it. But we did the same thing then. You know, we didn't put a set together. I put a thing out which lasted about a week. And I said, listen, we're going to tour. So for the first time we're going to tour, you tell us what you want. So I want everybody to write a set list out, and then we'll have a look and we'll make our set list from there. So it was the fans that chose the set list. So when you hear people were going later, they go, yeah, he's fucking playing well now. He wasn't on that. And they're doing this. He didn't do that. And it's like, yeah, I didn't, but he wrote it. You got mentioned.
Yeah.
So you're saying that he can't play his own songs. So it wasn't about Jeff. It wasn't about the music. It was just about me and Conrad. And I was like, listen, I don't give a fuck if he likes it or doesn't like it. And if you don't like it, you don't go. You don't go to an Iron Maiden concert if you don't like Iron Maiden. You don't buy the fucking, you know, Cradle of Filth album if you don't like Cradle of Filth. Why would you? And you don't call up Obituary or fucking Dayside to tell them they're cocksuckers if you're not a fan. What the fuck is that? It's like, you just like what you like. You buy what you buy. And there's no shame in that. So, you know, it was a conflict because people wanted to come and see it. They wanted to hear the songs. We were playing songs that people hadn't heard before, you know, and they wanted to be part of it. But they had this conflict that they felt like they were betraying the band if they came to see us. But at no point, you know, several times we did shows, and I remember one guy going, are you guys playing In League with Satan tonight? We were in America, Illinois, and a guy went, you guys playing In League with Satan tonight? I went, nah. And they were like, why not? I said, the drummer doesn't know it. We haven't got it in the set. And he went, fucking play it anywhere. And I was like, okay. So live on stage, we turned around to Mark Jackson, who was drumming for us then, and went, Mark, we're going to do In League with Satan. He was like, sorry? We said, we're going to do In League with Satan. He was like, I don't know that. And he was like, okay, right, just 4/4, okay, just bump to the bump to the bump to the bump, bump. You just do that, we'll do the rest. And he went, okay, 1, 2, and we did the whole fucking song, and the place went nuts.
That's
and we did
awesome.
that loads of times. We did it loads of times. You know, people just requesting something. Why don't you play 1,000 Days in Sodom tonight? Nobody knows it. Well, you should just play it anyway. So I go up and go, do you remember 1,000 Days in Sodom? Not really. I mean, it goes a bit like that. That's enough. Let's just do it. And we did it. And it was amazing. And so it was, purely, it wasn't the bullshit, it wasn't the festival on and off, limousines, being a dick, asking for too much money, trying to be a rock star. It was purely about taking the music to the fans. And if you had been a Venom fan forever, in your particular forever, and you'd never seen
right
the band,
here, bro.
there you go. If you'd never seen the band at all and never heard the songs live at all, I decided that it was our job to bring it to you. And hopefully you were going to get it. And I said to Jeff, we take the spirit, we don't have to take the personalities, but if we take the spirit of the music, that's enough. That's what they'll respond to. Because, you know,
Yes.
when you're a 16, 17-year-old kid writing a song in your bedroom, and then you get to do a demo, and then you might be fortunate enough to put that on an album, that's your song. That's your fucking song. So you play that song, your song, you play it. 40 years later, when you're Metallica, they don't own Kill 'Em All anymore. Those fans own that. It's their music.
Yes.
And so they are part of why you're still playing that fucking album and those songs. So they have a right. They have a right. You gave it to them. You wanted them to buy it. They did. They made you what you were, and now they own it. And you have a responsibility to take it to them. And that's
right.
what I want to do. That's just pure as that. Pure as that. You know.
So is there a brand new Venom Incorporated in the works? Like, do we have a title and a release of a track yet?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, there's a title. Yes, we got all the tracks. In fact, we got more. We got enough for 2. And the idea was to just put all the songs we had down. Of course, we're still writing other stuff, but put all that down and then surprise everybody. But everybody now knows because Jeff does his live streams. There's 24 songs.
And I heard Abandon left as well. So you have a new drummer. Yes.
Jeremy Kling, who has toured with us. He was our sound guy. When we did the Bloodstained Earth tour for Arvir, he was our sound man. Chuck Billy was help managing us with John Sazula, and he suggested Jeremy, who's amazing as a sound guy.
The Chuck Billy?
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I love him so much. But he was like, 55 million feet tall. You know, it was like being in Lord of the Rings sometimes, you know. It was like fucking hell. You felt like a hobbit. But he's just an amazing individual, heart of gold, but just an amazing person. And John Sazula, who, you know, was Megaforce, you know, and Metallica, Anthrax, all of that, and Exciter, Anvil. An amazing individual, and they were helping because I needed help, you know. Because once we became Venom Inc., the idea at the end of Empire of Evil was we got offered a show and the promoter said 2,000 hardcore fans, could Abaddon get up and play some songs? And I was like, fuck, trying to get Abaddon and Mantis together. Whoa, that's going to be a hard one. They all fucking hate each other. But Oliver Weishammer, Keep It True, said, if anybody could do it, you could. So I managed to do it. And Abaddon came in and we did 5 songs. And literally that was the turning point. We did 5 songs, came up with a name, Venom Incorporated, Iron and Steel, which everybody dropped and it just became Venom Inc. And it wasn't to challenge anything. It was just to say, you know, these 3 individuals, Venom music is part of who they are, so it's incorporated into everything else they do, and that was the kind of idea. But it went down so well. We got so many offers to go straight to China, then Japan, then Australia, then South America, European tour. We got agents, we got label. It was like fucking hell. So, you know, I said let's just tour, but I didn't want to make records. And then John Sazula pushed us into making the record, and eventually we did. And we only sent to one label, and that was Nuclear Blast. And I said, if they say no to the demo, fuck it. We just keep touring, and that's all we need to do. But they said yes, so we're like, shit. Now we have to do all of it. But there was some issues around it. You know, I don't think it's a surprise now. I think Mantis has told most people, but Abaddon didn't perform on the album because there was issues with the recording. You know, I'll be fair to him as well as to Jeff, is Abaddon's old school didn't work the way Mantis was working, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it the way we needed it done. He just couldn't. So it became impossible in the end, and the drum files weren't particularly good. He didn't know the material as well. But again, because of a learning technique, you know, he would go in a room with 3 or 4 guys, and that's what we used to do in the old days. But, you know, these days you can expedite all that. So we had some issues, and he tried a couple of his old tricks again and got caught out. And then on the American tour, Chuck Billy just said to me, look, you know Jeremy, your sound guy? I said, yeah. He said, he's also a great drummer, just in case. So I dropped Jeremy a CD. I went, can you listen to that and see if you could play any of it? And we later, when we had to, we took a rehearsal day, and he went in, played fucking half the album straight like it just come out the studio. It was like, you're in, brilliant. Because we had an impending tour coming up in Europe, and I wanted to carry on. And Abaddon his wife was having her baby. They'd got married. He was having their first kid. So he didn't want to go away, which understandable. But we had to do this tour. I wasn't going to cancel another tour when it wasn't necessary. So that's fine. We brought Jeremy in. Everybody would know he's our sound guy. Everybody knows he's just a dep. And then when he's finished with the baby thing and we come back, he'll be ready to come back on board. But he was okay with it. And then he realized he wasn't going to get paid. Hey, you're not on fucking tour. What are you going to get paid for? We got to pay Jeremy. So, and that, it did not go down too well. And then he started this whole fucking war of words thing. And I was like, you know, I'm too old for that shit. Go. That's it. I can't be fucked, you know. I've done everything I can possibly do. I was ripped off for 40 years and I've split everything by 3 people, and all this crap stories and this bullshit started coming out about I was ripped off here and it's like, oh fuck, I'm not even getting into it. You know, I should not have been honest. I should have been more upfront, but he was a friend. Yes. I thought he would have learned his lesson. Mantis said no. I said yes. I did it for the fans, and we ended up in a corner, and it was like, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I just want to keep playing, and I want to keep playing the music for the fans, and I want to keep being out there and doing music. So the bullshit is the bullshit. We eradicated that, and we carried on. So now on the new album, which I just did 2 vocals this morning, finishing off. I've got another 3 or 4 to do, but the album's in the bag almost. They've gone off to Mantis, who's now loaded them up for the new album. And yeah, so it'll be delivered to Nuclear Blast mid-June. It'll be out in September. And the title is, I hope you read that. And the track list is, I think our microphone's fucked. But yeah.
I see what you did there, man. I love it.
Well, you know, you're doing, because people always go, oh, can you pass me a track? Can I hear something? Can I do this? And I know Jeff plays snippets of the stuff. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, you don't do that, man. It's like gold. And especially with all the assholes out there who pirate shit. And like, I'm sorry, I'm not about that. I'm the guy who will go and buy your album, which I did the other day on Nuclear Blast.
Killer.
So I finally got Venom Incorporated coming to me on vinyl, man. Fucking A.
Love you, brother. I love you. Thank you so much. But you know, the thing is, I even had people, you know, in the past with Venom albums or with Atomcraft albums or even with Army, you know, would contact me and go, look, you know, your album's not available here, or I don't have so much money. I'm just gonna take it from the internet. I hope you don't mind. It's like you just steal it out my back. But I'm like, hey, if there's a difference between you having it and not having it, have it, because what was the point of me doing it if you can't have it? I mean, that's like, it's not logical. And everybody goes, oh yeah, but artists are really suffering. It's like, yes, okay, we know that. Remember the bit where you all thought Lars Ulrich was a dick because of Napster, and then now you all think he's amazing because he spotted it. It's like, he wasn't blowing shit out of his arse. He didn't need to chase the money. He was doing it for the actual creativity side. And now everybody moans about Spotify. And it's like, well, you know, for me, obviously we need money to survive, and like everybody else. And I want people, but if I could get 100,000, 500,000, 1 million people to have the album, but didn't actually make the money from that and still have to go on tour, I'm okay with that. Gene Simmons, not me, okay. You know?
Yeah.
that's okay. You know, if I got to do a day job, but do this because fucking hell, this is better than a day job doing this. This is the most, I get to meet the most amazing people like yourself who do the most amazing things from every walk of life, from every language, from every culture, from every country. I get to eat the best foods, drink all kinds of alcohols, just to have fun with people.
Living like a king.
Well, you know, that's it. I don't go on a private jet. I don't own a flash car, but who gives a shit? You know, there's more to life. People,
yes,
you know, people, just being with people, talking, you know, you know, for me, that's what it's all about. Communication. Music is communication, you know, and the minute that music becomes fucking Coca-Cola, it's like, I don't want to drink it. It's like, what the fuck is that? What is that? You know what I mean? It's corporate people making money. And it's like, yeah, I know there's a marketing thing and you got to be smart and you got to make a lot of money and you got to do this and you got to do that. It's like, right. Basically, you got to make music that people want to hear. And when you have those people who go, I love your music, you keep making it and there becomes a bond between the two of you. And that's your journey, that bond. And you want that person to become 2, to become 3, to become 4, because you want to be able to go and please as many people as you can by performing, because it makes you feel worthy and it gives them a great time. You know, most people who go to shows do it because they want to get away from the shit stick that they've got for every day of their life. They want to forget the fucking foundry. They want to forget the bus or the truck. They want to forget the wheel jacks. They just want to go out, drink with their buddies, get fucking pissed, and just go nuts to some great music. That's what they want to do. They want to release. And so that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You know, so I hope with the pandemic we can get back to that. The only reason the album has taken us a while is simply for the pandemic. No, it prevented me from going to Portugal where Mantis has his studio because he produces. You know, when we did the first album, Nuclear Blast and John and Chuck, they were pitching producers for the first album, Arvia, and Mantis wanted to produce it. And so they were like, well, Jeff wants to do it, but we think, you know, maybe we should go with this guy or this guy. And I said, well, if he wants to do it, let him do it, because who knows us better than he does? Yeah. And he loves doing that shit. And they're like, but do you think he can do it? Like, to the standard we're expecting? I said, yes, I think he can. And it was a lot of work for him. He was stressed out, but I think he did a fucking fantastic job. And if you when you hear the new one, which is called and and you hear tracks like, when you hear those tracks, you know, you're gonna say he's fucking killed it on this. It sounds fucking blows my mind. I'm just laying, you know, vocal tracks to stuff, and even I'm like, just keep running around going, fucking hell, this is going to be so immense, you know? So
fuck, I'm already looking forward to it, man.
Good.
Pretty hush shit, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been practicing. Look, I've been practicing bass. This is a guy from Canada, I think New Brunswick. I think he's called Darren Geppetto Maresh. He does them for Alice Cooper. He does them for fucking Kiss, everybody.
That is awesome.
It's fucking brilliant. And it really works. So I want to get like loads and do a video, because apparently he did them for Cheap Trick. And they just shot a video with the puppets. So I want to do some for us and some for Navosa, so they can do a video too.
Get some green screen there, have like some puppets there and some flames. And
I've got green screen and all that production stuff, because I do all that kind of editing and stuff. So I'm just so excited. I've got a Mantis one already. We've got a Mantis one already, but we need a clean one. And then he did this one. Look, this is my RV one. This is the first one I saw.
Oh, that is badass.
Fucking brilliant, isn't it?
I fucking love that.
Cool. And
I love that.
He put this up and he said, I said, oh my God, Darren, that's off the planet. I love it. I must have it. And I said,
dude, you got to make a music video with these, man.
They've got
awesome.
to, isn't it?
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, pretty cool.
So I'd like to switch gears there with you, Tony.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be an interview unless we talked about your acting. You've appeared in films like Master and Commander, Battlefield Britain, Judge Dredd. Like, how did you get into these?
Well, yeah, fucking by accident. A bit, well, I don't know if by accident. I always had this thing I used to tell students, when people ask you to do things that you haven't done before, that may be something you could, experience or learn from, just say yes. Because if you say no because you're scared, they might not ask you again. And it might never come up to be asking of you again in your life. So you'll end up sitting on a porch in a rocking chair, smoking your pipe going, I wish I had have done that. And I said, that was the one thing I always promised myself. I'm never going to be a guy sitting on a porch going, I wish I had. I'm just going to do it. And if that's jumping out of a plane, jumping off a rock, jumping off a bridge, bungeeing, or, swimming the channel, or whatever I feel I want to do that, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And I said, if you say yes, you can always say no later. If you shit yourself, like I went for a movie called First Night with Richard Gere and Sean Connery. And I just put on the thing I could ride a horse, and I couldn't ride a fucking horse. I'd been on a donkey once at the beach, but I couldn't ride a horse. And when I turned up at the set, they put me in all this armor, and the guy's talking, the armory guy, and then they take me to this fucking real horse. And he said, yeah, so all the riders, if you guys could jump up there. And I had to go, excuse me. He was like, yeah. He said, do you need a hand to get up? I went, I've never ridden a horse. And he was like, what the fuck? So I learned my lesson then, just don't lie. Just say the truth, otherwise you'd be in a predicament.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'd been working in the theater. I was in India. We did a tour with the Royal Shakespeare Company, a play called The Comedy of Errors. We were in India, and I loved Shakespeare, so I was always quoting all the time, bugging the shit out of the actors because I'd say their lines before they said them. And someone got sick, and the company came to me and said, look, we need someone to go on tonight. And I was like, fuck, I don't know any actors here. And they went, no, you do it. And I was like, what? I can't act. And they went like, but you know all the lines. We'll teach you how to do it. So I was like, okay. So I went on that night, had a great time, did it the next night, enjoyed that, did it the next night, it was good. And then when I returned to London, they called me up and said, would you come down and do some workshops? And then they put me in the show again. And I thought, I really like that. So next thing I know, I had an agent. The first one said, yeah, you're too old and you haven't done this before, so you nobody will take you on. And the second agent I met that same day when, I love you, yes, I'm going to take you. I was like, ooh, that's cool. And then a week later, I was on the set of First Night. And 4 days later, I was in Judge Dredd with Armand Asante and Sylvester Stallone, sitting in a shuttle with fucking...
Did you get to rub shoulders with Armand and Sylvester? Or?
Yeah.
Wow.
The first thing I shot, it was out of sequence, but the first thing I shot, they took me on this shuttle bus plane full of cast, like extras and stuff. And I came on, and the first day they went, oh, Tony, your seat's here. And this thing was full. And when I went, there was 3 seats. And he said, yeah, you sit by the window so the guys can sit together. And I was like, okay. So I just climbed in, put my thing on, sat in the window. And then I caught his eye, and after ages, we were waiting, and I caught his eye. I said, when are the other guys coming? He went, oh, he's on his way. I said, so who are we waiting for? And he went, Stallone. And I was like, right, how will we know he's here? He went, you'll know he's here. And then you hear that,
Adrian.
Yeah, he went, no, I did it. And he fucking, I'm sitting in this chair thinking, shit, he's not going to sit there, is he? And yeah, him and Rob Schneider come on. And that's the 3 of us. And I'm like, you're doing like, they're doing they go, action. And you're doing the acting. And then they go, cut. And I'm like, it's him. I'm staring at him going, fucking no, that's Sylvester Stallone. But I remember watching him in particular. Armand Asante is like, fucking, I don't know, something shit's going on in there. I think if anybody's gonna murder anybody, it's probably Armand Asante. But looking at Stallone, and I was thinking, he's not all that. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, Rocky is a big movie for me, but I was looking at him thinking, I'm such a fan, but he doesn't look that special. And then we went out to look at the rushes, And as soon as he came on the screen, I was like, oh my fuck, it's Sylvester Stallone. Something just changes with the screen. And you realize why he's such a powerful star. But yeah, we talked about his bike. I had to ask him about the riding of the bike in Rocky. And he trained with Roberto Duran. I used to box a bit, and he trained with Duran. So I got to speak to him about that. So yeah, it was cool. It was really, really cool. He was amazing. Yeah, so.
That's beautiful.
And I only had a small part. And the bit that I had, which was really cool, I took all my friends to the premiere, and it was fucking cut out. So it was just the one thing I was in where I was just dying next to him. And I thought, oh, you fucker. I didn't realize they would just cut stuff out of a movie. I thought if they shot it, it goes in. But then another friend was a friend of Rick Mail, who was a famous comedian here. He did The Young Ones and lots of stuff. And he was in Harry Potter, I think the first one or the second one, and they cut him out completely. So that made me feel better because he was much more known than I was. And I was a bit bruised, I got cut out, but he got cut out completely. So yeah. Anyway, and that was it. That was it. The next thing I knew, I came back and I was splitting. I did my day job again, engineering. I was working for Queen, installing their musical We Will Rock You. And I got a call from my agent, said, can you go to, when you get your lunch break, can you go to Park Lane? So I was like, fuck, I'm covered in shit. I can't even get washed. And they were like, just get up there. It's a big director. So I had my lunch break. I ran all the way across town, got to this real posh hotel, said I'd got to see this director, walked in, met this guy called Peter Weir, who was really cool, really nice, and said, oh, can I get you to do a bit to camera? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we did a bit ad-libbing. And then I said, look, I'm really, really sorry, but I have to get back to work. I'm putting this Queen show in, this musical, and I'm installing it, and I have to get back to work. I'm so sorry, but thank you very much. So I ran out. And 2 days later, my agent called, and I said, oh, I'm sorry I didn't call you back, but it was shit. I was so shit. I didn't know what I was doing, and the guy had me ad-libbing, and I was like, fuck. And I was covered in dirt, and I was thinking about the show. I said, so I think I blew it. And she went, okay. And after about, because I talk a lot, as you know, but after about 15 minutes of me like, I'm sorry. She went, are you finished? I went, yeah. She went, okay, well, they want you to fly to Mexico, fly to Los Angeles and get taken to Mexico on the first. They gave you the job. He loved you. He thought you were fucking brilliant. They're going to cast you as Mr. Lamb. It's X amount a week. You're going to be there for 5 months. I was like, what? Yeah, you're shooting in the same tank they did Deep Blue, Titanic, so it's a big thing. It's 20th Century Fox, Russell Crowe, Paul Bettany. I was like, me, fucking hell. And that was it.
In Master and Commander, like, were a lot of the scenes pretty tricky to shoot, or?
Well, no, they're amazing because they had two ships. When we turned up, they had the dry dock or the wet dock and a dry dock. But the where they shot the Titanic, they had this huge fucking like a channel in a tank, and then filled it with water. And where they shot it in Mexico, like the edge of the tank matches the sea. So if you pull the camera back like this, it looks like it's just the sea. So you could get these long shots. But it was built on a gimbal, which is like an elbow type of thing. So they have a base and they put this ball joint on, and the ship sat on top of that. So they could rotate the ship. So we were at sea in the storm and stuff. And then they had these tanks which dumped water on us, seawater. And then they had these jet engines which they blew. So when we went action, where we had this storm sequence, you know, the ship started fucking just doing this, and they were moving it like automated. And then they would dump these water tanks with like, fuck knows, like 1,000 gallons of seawater would just come bouncing into you. And then they had these jet engines, which were just behind the camera, blowing hot air right in your face with rocket fuel. And Peter Weir didn't want anybody wearing non-slip shoes. We had to wear traditional, as we would have back then in the 1800s. So we all had shoes with no grip. And the minute the fucking shit, we were just falling all over. People were breaking their noses and crashing around. But it looks authentic, and that's what he wanted. He wanted it to look real. So it looked really, really real. But if we had to do any other shots at sea, there was a ship which they made up to look like the ship we had. I can't remember what it was called now. Ashram was their ship, the Surprise. And we take that out to sea, but it like took 5 hours to get out there. and then we shoot all day and then 5 hours to get back or something. So yeah, but yeah, it was amazing.
Cool.
The whole experience was so cool, so cool. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. So in the spirit of metal music, what do you think if yesterday's hard hitters started today? Do you think they'd make the same impact?
I think it's really quite, I mean, it's quite strange because there's such a soak these days, because of the internet, because of, so many outlets, there's so many bands, the world's opened up as far as metal
thousands
goes.
Upon thousands, like everybody's getting lost in the sea.
Yeah, and it's difficult to get noticed for younger bands now, but for all of the bands as well. So you have established bands, but everybody's having to share pie and nobody wants to share pie. But for me, I spend all my time promoting the underground or listening to the underground. In the old days, we would trade tapes and I would go to Brazil or something, and then every fucking band that I met, or every person I met, had a fucking cassette in my hand, and I come back with a suitcase full of cassettes. And
I love cassettes. I have a huge collection of them myself.
I've got cases.
They're glorious.
But but now the internet means more bands can be heard. So you can have an obscure band. There's a guy in San Diego. There's a guy in Central America. One guy, both of them, just him, black metal band, does everything himself, even does shows with his backing tapes, and it's everything he's played. But online, he can exist. He can exist. If he can't find a drummer or a bass player, everybody complains, there's no fucking bass players, or there's no drummer, I can't get a decent guitarist. But you don't need that to exist as a band. And I love that. It means that people can just be creative. They don't need any special bullshit. They can just do it. And they can cut the corner. They don't need an MCA or RCA or fucking Century Media. They can give you it. Of course, they've got to work to get it on social media, but they can present it to you and they can get fans doing that way. But I think that the industry shape has changed a lot. The investment has changed a lot.
Do you feel that with things like Spotify and Apple, do you think it's making the scene better, or is it just making it worse?
I think like when we went from tape, we used to use 2-inch tape or 1/4 inch, but 2-inch for studio recordings. When we went to digital, a DAT or ADAT, you didn't need that. When you went fully digital, you didn't even need that. So it's like brilliant. But it was an advancement that you embraced as part of the bigger picture. And for me, the digital streaming and YouTube and Spotify and iTunes, they're all part of that. The downside to it, of course, is that everything you do goes straight up on YouTube, and you can catch that and download it, and you've got it for free, or you can pirate in and take stuff out. Okay, so that's not so good. If you went into Mom and Pop's grocery store and you bought 10 apples but walked out with all your milk and your beer and your bread and hadn't paid for any of that, it'd be a bit of a problem.
Yes.
And if it was your business, they would complain. So I think it's back and forward. You shouldn't, unless you absolutely can't have any other way, you should always try and support the artist, because I'd rather.
I'll tell you what I love. I want to tell you something. The most brilliant man in music today, his name is Sean Peck, sings for a band called Cage and Death Dealer. Yeah. He put out Conquered Lands on full-on fucking vinyl. He only put maybe 2 or 3 tracks on Spotify, nothing on Apple. And I bought the album and I can't stop listening to it. It's like crack fucking cocaine. And that's how I feel about my music. I think a band wants to get somewhere, put out your best 2-3 tracks, get people enticed, but leave the rest of the album for the person to come out and buy the physical copy. That way we're supporting you guys.
Yeah. I last year or the year before, I was saying that about Metallica during a conference thing. And I said, the industry went to digital, and the reason the industry wanted to go to digital because they said, nobody.
I puked my guts out so much.
Exactly, and it's like their excuse was, well, nobody wants to buy vinyl anymore. I don't remember me or anybody I know who used to buy vinyl being asked if they'd like to buy vinyl anymore and saying no. I don't remember that bit. Then they said nobody wants CDs anymore. Well, I don't remember anybody asking me if I wanted to buy CDs anymore or anybody else that I know. So it's like, hang on, that's a faux bar. They never asked anybody if they wanted these medias. What they decided to do was they decided not to manufacture it anymore. So they didn't have to manufacture them. They didn't have to ship them. They didn't have to store them. They didn't have to pay stores to have them in. No Walmart prices or HMV or Sam's, Sam's in Toronto. You didn't have. So what they managed to do was they managed to save themselves a whole load of money, which would have normally gone to the artist. So they've cut their costs. They've cut the people that work for them, and they closed all the record stores because of it. And now it's just all digital. And then everybody started nicking from them on digital. So now they're like, oh, fuck. Now they're stealing them. How do we control it? It's like, the only way you could steal music before was like I did with Queen's News of the World. You went into a record store, I stuck it up my fucking jumper and I ran out the door. That was the only way you could do it.
That's how I did my shit, man.
Exactly. Now, fucking hell, I could take my phone, lie in bed and fucking steal something. It's like crazy. So they're now complaining about it. Yeah, it's
no
bullshit.
Appreciation for fucking art these days, man, and it's really pissing me off.
Yeah, I mean it's good. There's this. I mean, look.
Oh my God, that's fucking beautiful.
That's the nightmare. Now, isn't that cool to have that?
I love that.
I've got it on here. I've got it on my phone. There's lovely pictures. And I can hear it, but fucking hell, that's in my hands. I can put it on and I can listen to it. I mean, that's amazing.
You buy somebody's record, you get fantastic artwork, you get a poster, a patch maybe, some stickers.
Look at that.
Oh, that is fucking gorgeous.
What a fucking shot. Look at that shit. I mean,
God damn.
Why wouldn't you want that? Bloodless, look.
Oh, man.
You can hear it online, but fucking hell, it's
why? Why would you want to hold a phone listening that? Oh, the smell. Yeah. I love it. It.
It's like for me, it's like seeing food. Like your buddy calls up and go, yeah, what are you doing? Oh, I don't know. We just made this meal. Oh, is it good? Yeah, fucking fantastic. And they show you a picture of it. Brilliant. How does it taste? Great. How does it smell? Fantastic. That's all you've got. So they had a meal, you've seen a picture of it, and you've read all about it. But being there, having it, putting it in your mouth, smelling it up your nose is a completely different experience. And for me, that's what happens with vinyl or cassettes. You've got a physical thing that you actually, you're already with the band because they're there and you're there and you put it on. And, the digital streaming, it's like flipping through 5,000 channels.
That's what I'm passionate about, Tony. That's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, sure, if I'm driving or if I'm somewhere in an airport, I've got all my Motorhead stuff on the phone, but I actually own them all on cassette and I own them all on vinyl. So if I'm at home, I don't want to listen to my phone. I want to put them on the player. But if I'm in an airport, I've still got them if I want to listen to them. So it's about embracing the technology. And vinyl's coming back. I mean, the new album we just did, I did a Sabatonero project. It's on cassette, it's on vinyl, there's a 7-inch, and it's amazing. And the cassette, this will blow your mind. So we did a cassette, and I was like, yeah, but, people are just getting into buying stereos again, but cassette players, I'm not sure. I mean, I love the cassette idea, but do they get them? And they said, yeah, it comes with a QR code. So they don't even have to play the cassette. If they don't have the cassette player, until they get one, if they want one, or they're just collecting, what they do is you get the cassette, you can scan the code with your phone, and it takes you straight to you're listening to the fucking album.
No way.
So you've got both. You've got a cassette if you want to play it on a cassette player, and if you don't have a cassette player, you can still have the cassette, and the QR code plays the album for you on your stream. And you've got all the bits, you can read the cover and do, so you still got an experience. That's mind-blowing. That's amazing.
I love that. That's innovation, man. That's fucking innovation.
Exactly. It's and I agree with you. What I said last year or the year before, I said, and they were like, how do you think we could maybe change the streaming thing? I said, if a Metallica puts out an album and it's only on vinyl and you can only get one track online, then people will buy it. And I said, that's how you change it. It takes the big players to go, we're not putting it on a digital stream. We're putting it, this is only out on vinyl. This is only out on cassette. This is going to go out on CD. Once they start doing that, then the industry comes back. It doesn't forget the digital. You can still have the digital. But like, I just done the Venom box set, which is all my heavy stuff. I did it with Venom Inc. Limited, which is the new label, and Rockmark, my partner. Now that BMG put it up on digital. So it was like, yeah, you can go and get it on digital. And people were like, yeah, but when is the physical? And so we released the vinyl set first. 12 hours it was sold out. It was like, So then we had the CD box coming. 19 hours that was gone. I was like, what the fuck? So now people are going, we need more. So I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do more exciting things and print more shit up and just offer more stuff as a physical thing. The cassettes, I've just posted stuff the other day. The cassettes are coming for all the albums. You know, again, you'll be able to have the QR code. You can scan it, bosh, you can hear it if you don't have a cassette player, but you can actually have the cassette. I kept all the artwork as original. They're only remastered from the tapes. No remixing, no bullshit. They're as they were, just with a slightly better sound quality for the players today. And that's it. You know, as close as they could. There's a booklet, but all the artwork, all the photos are all period stuff, you know. Nothing fancy. I'm not, you know, it doesn't come with a fucking gold goblet and a fucking yellow candlestick or whatever. You know, it's just the music, plain cover, bosh, there you go. And it's like, you know, it's just cutting a corner through all the corporate stuff. It's like, I'm not trying to go, I want to get as hot, I want to get my hand so far down your fucking pocket that I can touch that $100 bill. I'm not interested in that. I want you to have the music. This was the cost. Yeah. Can you pay this and we can cover the cost and that's yours. That's it. Simple. You know,
that's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. I love it. Fucking awesome,
you know,
man.
If people say, you know, touring is how we make our money, then brilliant. You know what I mean? You get bands that go out. I know bands. You get them go out, they'll do a tour. They may fucking pull 10 grand more in some cases, but 10 grand a night just in merchandise. Right. So the cost of the merchandise was well paid within the first fucking show. And they've got 20 dates. So how much money do you want? How much money do you need? I mean, you know, you can go, hey, this guy's a billionaire. Fucking brilliant. Him, his son, her son, his son, nobody's ever going to be able to spend that fucking money. So what's the point?
Speaking of getting onto reality there, Tony, everybody thinks that you guys, you know, you're a rock star, you got millions of dollars, right? So what do you do when you're not making music? Like, what do you do for a job?
Well, Mantis looks after cats and stuff. He does stuff like that. He does production and all kinds of stuff. And I just count my money. That's all I do because I've got so much. It takes me so long because I get all of the money that I get paid from the band. I want it in pennies because then it fills in the gap if we're not touring because it takes a long time to count the pennies. No, I mean, I do anything, you know. I mean, well, not anything. I'm not a prostitute, but unless anybody's got some money, and you know. But I haven't done the acting because the music is taking so much. But I work in theatre still. I'm still do automation.
Awesome.
I don't do it full time now, so I'm kind of in a position where I'm a specialist because I did it for so long as an engineer, so I can step in and step out. I was a carpenter, you know, so I kind of have that skill if I need it. But I kind of just focus on the music. So I kind of manage bands, and I've just launched the label. So I put Sabat Nero on, the new Venom box set is on that, and you know, some of the stuff is coming up, which is quite exciting. Some bands from Japan. So I'm just kind of trying, you know, we said about so many bands. There's some fantastic bands who've all made records for small labels and have paid into these management companies who say, all right, you pay us $2,000 a month and we'll make sure everybody hears your music. Yeah, okay, yeah. So some guy sitting there getting like 10 grand a month from 5 bands who are sitting there going, why aren't we megastars yet? And it's like, because he's not interested in what you're doing. He's just making some money. So I want to bypass all that. So I try and hook, people up and tours and introduce them to real people in the industry and hopefully push them along. I mean, there's so much great music, it's very difficult, but I just think that, so many places in the world, there's bands who can't get out of where they are, and they go, like there's a band, I'm going to be playing bass for Virus, a British band, thrash band from the 80s, Virus. They had this show that they were playing in July, and then a friend sent me a post and said they were looking for a bass player because they had some issues, and so I just contacted, Cork Finley, who's the main guy, and I said, look, if you want me to step in, fuck it, yeah, I know your stuff, and send me what your set is through. And we talked about the industry and how it is, and I just said, look, they just done a corking album. The fuck, if anybody goes on the Virus album, just go and have a listen. It's green cover, and it's a fucking killer album. It's up on YouTube. But they were like not getting shows because there was only 200 people here and 300 people there hitting on the songs from the album. And he was losing his mind going, fuck, this is a really great album. And why are people not going? I said, because they don't go, there's so much out there. They don't go unless it's right in front of them. So you have to figure out how to get it in front of them. And some agents will then look at those figures and go, well, you're not pulling big figures. But I said, that doesn't mean that people don't like your music. They just don't know it's there. I said, so it's one of the problems in the industry. There is so much going on that, you're on your Facebook or whatever, and you're skims, unless it comes out like a fucking salmon and slaps you across the face, you don't stop to look at it because it's just more stuff. So, you have to figure out that. How do you communicate? Live streaming, talking too much like me or Jeff, with his cats in his stream, but things like that, you've got to reach out to people who can talk to you, tell you, ask you questions and stuff. So I think that's really, really important. It's great to live in your ivory tower with the fantasy of you sleep in a coffin and you make £1 million a year, and that's brilliant. But the reality, you still have a shit, you still have a piss, you still go to the beer store and you still shop at Walmart. That's the reality, right, brother. And it's like, hey, whatever. We all have to eat and live and do our stuff. And I just like to keep it real. But I think for bands, that's the way to do it. Be genuine, be humble, Yes. Sometimes it'll be difficult. Sometimes you'll be tired and you'll be fucking frustrated and everything else. But, a fan is a fan, and they're the reason. They're the people you're trying to communicate. Yeah. Not so long ago, I had a discussion with someone who said, I met this band and I supported them for so long. And then I went meet, they were like dickheads. And I said, well, I never understand. Because when a band starts, they play some local club. They want you to come and tell your friends to come and tell Betty's friends to come. And Carol, if you can get your buddies, and Jim at work, if you can come down and bring a couple of people, and we want to get people. And they keep doing it. And now they've got a following. There's like 200 people always come down. Great band, great bunch of guys. Then they make it and they treat the fans like they're all wankers. And it's like, like they're going to go, oh, fuck you, tossers. Yeah, you shit, you suck. And it's like, hang on, where did you go from really needing a fan base to help you become a rock star to now they're a pain in the arse that you're a rock star. They're a pain in the arse. You don't, it takes 2 fucking seconds to write your name on a piece of shitty paper. I can't do that because I'm busy. I'm going in there to sit around and do fuck all. And I can't take a selfie with you because, that's bullshit. And I can't sign your album because you'll stick it on eBay. I don't give a fuck if you stick it on eBay. If you want to stick it on eBay, it's up to you. If it makes you $10, you got 2 of them and it makes you $10, whatever. Who cares,
Exactly. So for my final question there, what, like, other than the new Venom Incorporated album, what else is on the horizon for you, then, my brother?
Well, I've got the Sabatonero project. So we did this thing called Sabatonero Luma de Ferro, which is Black Sabbath in Italian, the Iron Man. And it began where Francesco Conti and Filippo Marchigiani, a couple of musicians in Italy, and Riccardo Spilli, they'd contacted me. Well, Fran had contacted me and just said, we're going to do this cover of Hole in the Sky. Would you put bass on it? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Everybody was doing it. Bit of fun. So I did it. And then And then I did a thing with Prika Amaral for Metal Against Coronavirus for South America. James Murphy, a lot of other stars did some stuff. And Prika Amaral from Nervosa asked me if I'd play or sing on this single for this project to raise funds for COVID for Brazil and duet with her. And I was like, yeah, fucking why not? So then I went back to Hole in the Sky and I was thinking, oh, you know, Italy was hit very hard with the pandemic. Initially, when we all thought it was only going to last a week, they were hit really hard. And I thought, well, why don't we do more Black Sabbath? I love Black Sabbath, you know, fucking Black Sabbath. And then maybe we could get some guests. So I asked, you know, Snowy Shaw, Marty Friedman, James Murphy, Terence Hobbs from Suffocation, and Ken Andrews from Obituary. I got Prika Amaral, I got Amaya Puertas from Torture Squad, Maxine Kuzianik, Smoke, right? I just went around the building, Satan, Raven. I just went around with my buddies and went, do you fancy doing a song? And we put this album together. It's just gone out the CD now. We're just waiting for the vinyl because there was a hold up, but the promotion's gone amazing. We got some great reviews on it, and that's what we're selling. So I think I want to play shows as soon as possible. So I'm doing this virus thing. I've got another album, an Atmcraft piece that I'm doing with Mark Jackson and a couple of guest guitarists. Possibly get Juan Garcia is going to jump on from Body Count. So, you know, I'm just going to keep doing that. And then the Sabatonero thing, once we have that out, the idea is to raise funds. So next year, we're going to do some selective shows, I think. So there'll be big events. We'll do maybe only 5 or 6, but we'll do it. So like say we play Ottawa, for example, we play Ottawa, the merchandise fund gets split. So 20% goes to the Ottawa COVID, whatever the COVID Foundation is there that's fighting the disease and helps the hospital. And then we take a percentage, the rest percentage goes straight back to Italy and goes to the main hospital, Spaziana in Roma. So we just want to do that so we can actually put mini festivals on. You'll have Suffocation, Obituary, Nervosa, fucking Venom Inc. I mean, it'll be mind-blowing. Diamond Head. So we've got a ready-made tour with all the guests.
I hope you can come to Edmonton, Alberta, man. That would kick so much ass. We'll show you a good time.
Yeah, that would be fucking great. That would be great. I mean, yeah. And you know, I've been to Edmonton before. And I spent time in the you got this gigantic fucking pirate ship with a gigantic
West Edmonton Mall, man.
The West Edmonton Mall, yeah. I was like, I walked in there and they said, oh, there's a pool there if you want to go swimming. I was like, yeah, that would be cool. And I walked in, this place is like this fucking indoor beach. There's like this gigantic beach and a fucking pirate. I was like, what the fuck? It was amazing. It was amazing, yeah. So, you know, and I have a lot of buddies that I shot some movies with who are in some TV shows, and at the minute they're in Calgary, but they live Vancouver. So that whole part of the earth is a bit of a favorite of mine. The weather's kind of like the UK if you're in Vancouver, so that makes me feel at home. But of course, I'm a kind of honorary Canuck because I kind of grew up in Windsor. So for me, it feels like coming home a bit. So I'd love us to come up there. I think we've only done, apart from Toronto, of course, Montreal, Quebec, and Ottawa, you know, we had 2 turns, we planned shows in Vancouver and we managed only 1 because each time we went, it was the time of year, we got fucking snowed from Denver. It was like, we're never going to get there. So we were on the road and it was like, fuck. So we had to cancel and push it back. But Vancouver was off the map. But I wanted to do Calgary and Edmonton and we didn't get there. So let's hope.
Let's hope so, brother.
This is what I think you should do. I think, and I'll support it, I think you should just put a fucking massive, it's a great college town, put a massive fucking festival on there, and let's get in there, and we'll just
do it.
Place.
Let's do it, brother. All right, Tony, it's been an absolute fucking honor having you here on Kmfbz Radio. Keep making great music, keep the horns high, brother.
Bless you always, and thank you so much for having me, and I'm sorry everybody if I spoke too much, but thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure from London, England to Canada. Be good. See you soon.